We have to find the balance between the short-term family interest and the long-term business goals. And we want to focus on strategic planning and training so that we can leave some of that drama at home. Hello, friends. Stephen Harrington Dakota, Diva of Insurance and performance coach here, Agency Performance Partners. I want to spend a little bit of time talking about the top 5 challenges family-run insurance agencies face. 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I think that this is really important to address, right? Family-owned insurance agencies are normally legacy agencies. It's something that 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5 generations back has built. Their name is normally on the door, or maiden name, or family name of some kind is on the door. And we want to make sure we're honoring the legacy that was built. We also know that family ownership can bring a sense of commitment, shared values, and really a deep understanding of the client's needs or the local community that the agency's in, and how to foster those relationships. We've set a promise that we've upheld for years. And clients tend to feel a sense of security and loyalty when dealing with a family agency, as they know that they're being serviced by individuals who actually care about their well-being, right? That's what our family has established over the years. And that's the model that most family agencies follow, is a promise of excellence. We're here for you. There's a little bit more compassion, a little bit more personalized service. It's a little less corporate a lot of times, which isn't necessarily a good thing or a bad thing. It is just kind of what it is. There's 5 major challenges that agencies face. The first one is succession planning and leadership transition. And I think we need to take a long, hard look at that one. Family agencies must carefully plan for the leadership transition and a smooth transfer of knowledge, skills, and responsibilities from one generation to the next. Not every person was made to be a business owner or a leader, but I think sometimes we get confused and we're like, well, they're family, so we're going to promote them. And that may or may not be the best option. We also want to look at who's going to be involved in who's not. Is there some silent stakeholders? Is there some people that just get dividends or get a check just because they were part of the family? Who's going to do the heavy lifting? Who's going to do the hard work? We have to balance the family dynamics and egos and expectations, especially when there's varying levels of interest in an agency. And that can be challenging. If I am day in, day out working on the business along with one of my relatives, and I'm being groomed to take over the business, but my siblings not, my siblings off living their best life, doing their own thing, should they be excluded from a financial stake in the agency? Or what should it be, a different portion or proportion of the agency? And those are some of the questions that we have to ask. And then we need to be fair, open, and honest as we're going through that planning. And I think sometimes we run into big problems when we'll use dad as an example. Dad's like, hey kid, I'm going to be giving you the agency. And all the kids are like, that's amazing. But we have one kid that maybe was there longer, has done a lot of the work. And the other 2 or 3 either don't show up, have other jobs, have other income streams. How do you divide that equally when the family's been told since they were little that they were all going to get part of the agency? And I think that we really have to address that and set some clear expectations. We also have to remember that maybe the family members that we have are not the strongest leaders. So we need to invest in training, or we need to invest in other things for them so that we can build them as strong leaders. Or we need to have a clear plan for what is the leadership structure of the agency going to look like? Do we have a board of directors that's maybe the family, and we have other people that we pay to actually run the agency and do the day-to-day work? How are we going to divide assets? How do we manage the debt? How do we value the business? How do we make it fair and equitable so that the agency can survive? Or does everybody have to buy out shares? Like, your dad's going to retire. Here's what the book is worth. Everybody gets to put in X amount for X amount of stake. I think that sometimes we think that they're just going to be handed on a silver platter as well. And that's not always the case. So a lot of times this is a retirement plan for somebody who has been working at the agency for years. So we have to find that balance. We have to find a way to make it fair and equitable to everyone. And we have to be clear in those rules. A lot of times a disinterested third party is the one that's going to help with that because they take some of those feelings out. It's not like, well, you like them better than me. It's no, here's what we have to do in order for this to be successful, right? Here's what's fair and equitable. Here's how we can sustain. Here's how we can make sure that this goes on for another generation versus let's just cash everything out and be done. The other part is balancing family dynamics and professional responsibilities, really looking at those personal relationships with the family in an objective way. Can we keep the drama, the work drama at work and the home drama at home, or does it spill over? And I think this is huge, right? Our not family member staff doesn't understand because they're not part of the family. You might be able to fight like cats and dogs, go home and still get along. But when the team is seeing it, it creates clear conflict, and we need to be able to address it quickly and in a professional manner. We need to maintain clear boundaries between personal and professional relationships, and family-owned businesses often face this challenge because we are so passionate about the business and about our family, and we've been around and we've been together forever. But we have to have a clear plan that considers the aspiration of everybody. And we have to make sure that we are going to have those clear boundaries. If it starts to get out of control, we need to have like a safe word, right? Like stranger danger or something that we can hold it off and be like, this is not appropriate for this place. We need to take this outside or we need to take this home and talk about it again. We have to find the balance between the short-term family interest and the long-term business goals. And we want to focus on strategic planning and training so that we can leave some of that drama at home. And I think if we have clearly defined roles and responsibilities and metrics that we hold each other accountable to, it makes it a little easier to say you're doing a great job because, or you're struggling because. And I think a lot of agencies don't do that. We're just rewarding people because they're family. So we need to find that balance. We need to set some roles and we need to have clearly defined objectives for people to follow. And that's one of the things that we help agencies do. Clearly defined goals, clear defined job descriptions, reporting and metrics. We also have to look at attracting and retaining talent. And a lot of times in a family business or a family run insurance agency, this can cause problems, right? A lot of people will feel that there is no opportunity for advancement, or the whole family gets treated this way, but the not family gets treated this way. And I think that we have to be sure that we are taking the time to appropriately balance and treat everybody fairly, regardless of relation. We need to make sure that our team is treated fairly. We have to make sure that as the industry is changing, we are changing with it. And we have to remember the best leader might not be somebody from the family. We might need to hire an outside person to help run the agency. A disinterested third party can go a long way in solving some of the conflicts and creating peace in the agency. And our not family staff will see it as a balance as well because they're going to have less conflict in the agency. So we want to make sure we're really taking the time to look internally, look deep. We want to make sure that we're changing with the times and that we are setting professionalism and we're attracting and retaining the right kind of talent. And again, it may not always be family. We're going to have to get over the ego and we're going to have to work through it. The next thing that agencies struggle with is keeping pace with technological advancement. And this one is huge. We see all sides of the spectrum. In consulting, we get the shiny object people that are like, shut up, I want this and I want this and I want this and I want this. It's so cool and it does this and it's so cool and it does this and it's so cool and it does this. But we get it and we don't use it, or we don't use it properly, or we were wowed by what we were told it did, but we didn't realize all the work that went into it. Or we have the agencies like, for the last 30 years, we've always mailed out a birthday card. We send a handwritten birthday card every year to every person. Right? And maybe that's how you keep your clients. And other people are like, that's silly, right? That's old school. That's not what we do anymore. So I think sometimes we have to figure out how we keep tradition alive, but we can also find new ways to do things, but we don't have to use the shiny object syndrome. We have to have a solid business strategy where we use innovation, but we talk through it and decide where we're at. We come up with a plan, a 1 year, a 5 year, and a 10-year plan to really look at how can we embrace things? How can we stay competitive? What does the next phase look like for us? But we still want to keep the feel alive of the family agency. Sometimes if people aren't adapting to newer technology, we need to figure out how to move them along in the agency. So I want to make sure that we're taking that time and focusing on who's the right fit for each position. I worked with the agency where one of the four owners, one of the four family members that was an owner, refused to put anything in the management system. It was all paper files. She would drop it off on somebody's desk and be like, here you go. Can you put the notes in the system? Can you update this? Can you make this change? But the other three members of the family were using the systems to the best of their ability. They were working on advancing the agency, and they were trying to bring things up to a standard that the rest of the team was held to. So a difficult conversation had to be had where we had to buy out or move along a family member because they weren't growing with the agency correctly. And so that's sometimes what we have to look at. Sometimes we have to look at really focusing on what's a good fit for the agency, what's not, and taking a step back. And if it's not a good fit for the agency, we have to make some decision. There's also a lot of pressure from the outside right now. There was a lot of acquisitions over the last year or two, and there was some very tempting acquisition numbers thrown out, and some small family agencies were purchased, and some larger family agencies were purchased. And they got all rolled in to other groups. They lost part of their field. They got to keep part of it, but they might have lost part of it. And I think that's kind of going away, but we're gonna have to know what we want and what we're willing to do in order to survive in the changing market. Things are becoming more expensive. Markets are getting harder. It's getting harder to place the business. We need a strategic plan, and we have to foster a culture of innovation, and we have to seek external expertise when needed. We have to stay adaptable and open to change. We have to be forward thinking so that we can thrive and evolve in the competitive business landscape. And we have to make sure everyone is on the same page. And I think that that's a huge challenge that is difficult for some of us to keep up with. We also need to manage compliance or finances, commingling of funds, bless our souls. We have to separate the personal and the business finances. We have to make sure that if it's a business expense, it's a true business expense, not just, ooh, we like that because it was really cool. Is the condo in Hawaii, is that really a valid business expense? Or is that a family expense, right? Everybody goes on vacation there, so we like it, but the agent's been paying for years. We need to make sure that we are setting up some financial guidelines, and we are holding people accountable to financial discipline. Some of our family members might need more financial literacy, bless their souls. But we're going to have to adhere to strict budgeting and expense tracking. And we have to make sure that we are not misallocating funds or overspending in areas. We're going to have to make sure that we can get it cleaned up and make it better so that we can identify how profitable the agency is. We can remove confusion and potential legal or regulatory issues. We need to make sure that each person understands where the money's going and what it's being used for. And I think that it's really hard sometimes, especially when it comes to family, because it's like, oh, so-and-so spent this amount on ink this month. I didn't use any ink. Where's my money then? So we're going to have to make sure that we're setting up a tight budget. We have somebody that understands the finances, somebody that's going to hold us accountable. We need to establish clear guidelines, have a review as a family about where the money's going, what it's being used for, how profitable are we or not profitable are we, And are we complying with local regulations and tax codes or not? We don't want everybody to get in trouble. So we really need to make sure that we are following those guidelines. So again, I think there's quite a few different things we looked at. We talked about professionalism of the agency. We talked about succession planning or leadership planning. How do we transition that effectively? What are some business strategies and how do we find the balance between the attitudes and the not? Employee recruitment and retention. And lastly, personal spending versus business spending. I think that these are all really important, again, to focus on. And a lot of times you need help. You need an outside party that can come in, be not biased, can share experience of what other agencies are doing, and really listen to each member of the family and help break it down in a way that's relatable for everybody. So if you need that assistance or if you're looking for some help, guys, feel free to reach out to us. We're here for you. We have lots of resources. We have online, we have live, we have virtual, lots of things available to help you out. And we're happy to have a quick call with you. You can find a link in our blog or on our website to book a meeting with any one of us. And we're happy to spend a few minutes talking with you to see if it's a good fit. Until next time, have a great day.